A struggling Alabama team has managed to bounce back against some weaker opponents. They walk into Athens this week, number 4 Georgia, coming off a big win versus Tennessee, coming off a bye week. We're just going to see how Ty Simpson plays against an away crowd, like he did versus FSU. Struggled mightily, but a big thing about him is he has bounced back. I think only 6 incompletions in his past 2 games. That's pretty wild, even if it's teams like UO Monroe and Wisconsin. Got to give him credit for that. But just curious, what do y'all think about everything, given the factors? Kirby Smart 1-6 versus Alabama. What do y'all think about this upcoming game?
I think you can bring up the Kirby Smart record when only one of those is against DeBoer. And to be fair, last year, if that game is played again, it may be biased. I feel like Georgia takes it in a close one. Kirby Smart has struggled against Nick Saban more so than Alabama, I'd argue. With Saban gone and a lot of transfers in the offseason, I think Georgia has a better coaching staff and a better team on the field. I think they have a better atmosphere. It's also in Sanford at night. Blackout, which might be bad luck, but I think just the structure of this team, the scheme of the team, even though, the offense, Mike Bobo, come on now. The screen game, it's going to prevail somehow, and I think the Dogs take this one.
I have two people for you. No, Jam Miller and Tim Keenan III. Their return is in Athens this weekend, and a struggling Alabama run game is going to be rejuvenated by Jam Miller, and a defense that hasn't been able to stop the run versus Florida State will be getting Tim Keenan back, who is the defensive captain and the best defensive player by far.
I would like to give a rebuttal. We've seen Georgia play against good running back Star Thomas and Peyton Lewis for Tennessee. I think they're near especially Star Thomas is near Jam Miller's level.
He's better.
I would say, given how Alabama played, that offensive line played versus FSU, I think if Georgia steps up, plays like they did versus Tennessee, I don't think the running game should be a problem. I am worried about Tim Keenan. Georgia hasn't played an inside presence like that yet this year, and we'll see how Drew Bobo holds up versus Tim Keenan.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost on this game because it looked early on like Georgia, like when they played nobody schools like Austin P and Marshall. Their offense didn't look very good, but then they hang 44 in Neyland Stadium on a good Tennessee defense. So I really don't know what to think about this. But I mean, this just seems like a spot. Everyone was quick to write off Alabama early, and that team is still insanely talented. Ty Simpson hasn't proved himself yet. Some may say Ryan Williams is overrated. He's still an elite receiver. Jeremy Bernard's also a great receiver they have. The thing that I think is going to come down to for Alabama is if the O-line can hold up. Now, I hate Caden Proctor just as much as the next guy in line. I cannot stand that guy. But if him and other members of the O-line can find a way to give Ty Simpson time, I don't think Ty Simpson's as good as Joey Aguilar, but we saw the success Joey Aguilar had downfield against Georgia. I think if they can hold up for him, I think Alabama can have a similar game. And I think they just keep beating Georgia. I can't pick Georgia in this spot just due to the history in this series.
I think, as a Georgia fan, I'm obviously a lot more worried about the passing defense. We can look at last year, shout out Humphreys, shout out Ryan Williams for scarring me for life. But also, as you brought up, Joey Football looked like Johnny Manziel against
he is a real life
Georgia defense. He is.
Yes,
I'm not going to say that Ty Simpson's as good of a quarterback as Joey Football by any means, but I do think that this Georgia defense struggles against the pass, especially against Bama. And I'm more worried about that than the run. Jam Miller doesn't frighten me. No offense, Rose.
The thing that I think Georgia will have Georgia will have in their advantage here, I do not see them getting punched in the mouth 28-0 like they did last year.
Yes, that is indeed true.
That is one thing that if you're an Alabama fan will worry me. There's a 0% chance you come out like that again. That is not going to happen. And without that start, you lose last year's game. So that's also tough. But I still think you're able to stick with it. Mike Bobo is also a horrendous play caller, so he may be able to keep you in it for a few drives just with horrible play calling, and you'll be able to get stops that way. But I think I think Alabama finds a way again to beat Georgia.
Mike
I,
Bobo.
I, I think there's too many offensive weapons on the field for Alabama. Isaiah Horton is the wide receiver 3 on this team, and to a Georgia defense who has already let Tennessee put up 40 points on them. You take all that into account, and then if they can find a way to get Ty Simpson time to throw the ball, they didn't versus Florida State. If they can find Ty time, then he will deliver. He's shown that in the past 2 games.
Yes. As a fan of somebody who has been owned by both of these schools since I have been alive, right? Here is my thoughts about this game, okay? I think that Alabama is not good in the run. I don't think it's because of Jam Miller being hurt. I think it's because the offensive line sucks at football. Like they cannot establish a line of scrimmage against Georgia, right? I think Georgia is way too talented up front, and I think that Georgia will want the game more than Alabama would. So, like, after losing, right, down 28-0, and they almost came back and won that game, right? I think that Georgia will beat Alabama this year at home, finally getting over the hump, and I do not think it's going to be a ball game. I think that Georgia will establish a run game first. I think that they will eat up that Bama offensive line. I think that Georgia wins 38-17 against Alabama.
Something else, I think, Ty Simpson, I'm not saying he's Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, but he's not going to make dumb mistakes. He's shown that so far this year. I don't think he's thrown a single interception. He's not going to go out there and do some Jalen Milroe stuff and just give Georgia where they thrive and making other teams make mistakes. I don't think Georgia's going to be able to find a play like that in this game. I think Ty Simpson's decision-making I think it's too good for Georgia to be able to find a mistake like that and capitalize on it.
I'm going to have to totally disagree.
It's hard to make mistakes when you don't throw the ball downfield.
Yeah, I'm going to totally disagree with you, Max. You saw versus FSU in an away crowd, he was completely bamboozled in the head. When he didn't have time versus O-line, he made some absolutely, mind-boggling plays. I had no clue what he was doing. But I think a big key to this game, big matchup, Christian Miller versus Parker Brailsford. Parker is one of the best offensive linemen in the country, in my opinion. I think he's the best on that Alabama O-line. And Christian Miller is one of the best defensive tackles. So that's going to be an intriguing matchup. Caden Proctor, 8 pressures allowed versus FSU, going against an improved, better Georgia front 7. I would like to see how Caden Proctor holds up. And give me the Dogs, 38-17.
Nice.
I think we talk a lot about Mike Bobo's play calling, but we saw how Florida State ran all over this Alabama defense, and I think I'm confident that Georgia's O-line, it wasn't ideal last year, especially compared to years prior, but I think the holes that are going to be created for one of the best backfields in the country, there's not going to be an answer for that because the clock will be run and the yards will be gained. So I think Georgia takes this one 37-20.
Nice. Hey, and I think that we will also see why Ty Simpson was a backup for Jalen Milroe. It's because he's not good at football. I mean, I'm sorry, but he's he's just not good at football. So
all right. I think the Tide go in. It's blackout. It's another funeral for the Dogs. Give me 24-21 Alabama.